Yes.
Hello, this is our
Welcome to.
unnamed ATP
Un-
podcast, and yeah, go ahead.
was that what we're calling it? I thought we are calling it unnamed,
Un
unsolicited tennis advice
and tennis
or tennis
analysis, yeah,
analysis.
by
Is the
Rohan
first
and
one we're going to
Vinit.
nominate. Oh,
I
it
guess
sounds
we'll,
such a
I
corny
guess
intro.
we'll, I guess we'll try to do this for as many Masters 1000 and Grand Slams as we can. Hopefully, all the Grand Slams.
Yeah, as soon as things get
So,
back to normal, be more
yep,
consistent schedule too. This is
yep.
just going to be as we feel like it. No schedule.
So this is
All right.
recorded on
So
September 14th, the day after the U.S. Open final, and we will be doing a
for the
breakdown
men's,
of the U.S. Open's men's final. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
for the men, yeah, the men's final. Yeah, so we're gonna just do ATP stuff because that's where we know more, and we've yet to catch up on WTA. Um,
Yes. So, do you
uh,
want to start your thoughts on the men's final?
yeah, yeah. So let's go. Honestly, that was a very boring match for about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
3.5 hours. I don't think either player actually played particularly well. Even in the beginning,
Yep.
Zverev was playing all right. He was serving big and playing aggressive ish for his standards, but
Yeah.
team was just not
He wasn't there.
there mentally. He wasn't there
Yeah.
mentally. He was slow. He was hitting balls out. His serve wasn't like the low fee. He was double faulting more than Zverev was actually early in the
Yeah.
match,
Yeah. He was. I thought
which
Zverev played
is
definitely above average, but team just did not show up to the task in the first two sets. It was
yeah, which
like
it was.
overall, I thought it was two players who were absolutely nervous wrecks. Like Zverev came out strong, but eventually he became completely overwhelmed by the potential of maybe winning his first major. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Then,
yep.
uh,
It
then,
showed
then
definitely
yeah,
in the
especially in the
final.
fifth set, it really showed. And then he even
Yeah,
had a break lead in the third, right? And then he kind of squandered it because
he
he
had a
started
break
thinking
lead
about
in
the
the
score.
third.
Yeah,
He was up a double break in the second, but team honestly when
he,
team broke at when he held at 5-1 and then broke
yeah,
5-2, I kind of had a feeling that even
that's
though
where you started to think, right?
That's when even though Zverev went on to close the set at
Mm-hmm.
6-4, it was very
Momentum
shaky because
shifted.
it was a 30 all I think in that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
5-4 game, and I could tell team was probably gonna
He was waking up. The
play. He was gonna
momentum.
play better. He was never gonna play that poorly, and I think
Yeah,
coming in as the favorite for the first time was a bit more pressure
yeah.
than he could have handled or
This
thought
game, this
expected.
match, I thought actually it really highlighted how great Zverev is at best of three sets. Like not recently, but over the last couple of years, he's been one of the best Masters 1000s players out there, but
Yeah,
struggled in
because
the five setters, right?
he's beaten Novak in the Masters. He's beaten Roger a couple times in the Masters,
Yep.
and World Tour Finals. His 2018 World Tour Final, he beat Roger and Novak
And
to
back to
win.
back,
And
yeah.
previously that year as well in Shanghai, he'd beaten Roger at the Shanghai Masters.
In
Um,
2019, yeah.
that was 2019. Like I'm thinking 2018.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So as far as three sets goes, Zverev has been a very good player, but in the Grand Slams, it wasn't until this year was his first semifinal
I mean, and now first final.
and first final. And
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, and they were both cramping in the fifth, but team was clearly cramping more.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
And
It's nice to know
yeah,
that this is the fourth consecutive Slam final that's gone five sets. Of course, you have to
mm-hmm.
take in the fact that the French Open didn't happen because it was never going to be a five-set final at the French Open with Nadal playing.
Of
But
course.
but
We
four
will get to the
consecutive
clay court
slams.
season after.
Yeah,
We'll get to the clay court season after.
yeah. I also think Team was in this position, like a Grand Slam final, as the favorite for the first time in his career,
First time,
and
and it
that
showed
definitely took
the
a toll.
pressure
Yeah,
early on.
he fought
Exactly.
hard in his previous finals, knowing that he had nothing to lose. Right?
Exactly. And he played really well at the Australian Open final this year. I still think he should have won that had
He
he
should have won that. Yeah.
just just reeled it in a bit more in the fourth and fifth sets. He kind of gifted
Mm-hmm.
Novak several breaks with overhitting.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that was also how he beat Nadal, and so he thought he could go. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So early on in the match, we had Zverev came out, just playing. I wouldn't even say well. Like we mentioned before, he wasn't playing well. He was just playing
I think he
better
was
than
playing well.
team,
Definitely,
or maybe
obviously better than Team. Yeah. I
maybe I was just
I
so
thought
bored by the match.
he had some really big serves. Even his second serves were big. Provided some of them were double faults, he had some big second serves. His forehand was firing all cylinders. I thought he was doing very
Agreed.
well.
Off both wings, actually. He was
Both wings,
dom-
yes.
he was going forehand up the line really well against Team, which hurt him a lot,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then as well as winning the backhand rallies. And he was
yeah.
coming to net, which was nice to see actually,
Yes,
which I
he
do
actually did a very
appreciate.
good job. He did a very good job at the net.
Which I
Not by
appreciate a
not by
lot.
Federer standards or anything, but for himself he did a very good job at the net.
Exactly.
Lots of
And then
positives.
and then as the match went on, like we said, that second set when he didn't, he had about like 5 set points I think prior to
Yeah.
actually winning the set.
Yeah, yeah.
3 of them were on the
He
team
actually
service line.
had 5-2, 40-30. He had a volley right on top of the net and he pushed it wide,
That he
proceeding to lose
missed,
that game.
and I think that was his last good volley for a while, if I
Yeah, yeah.
remember correctly. And then like in the third set, even though team was down a break early, and honestly, Zverev should have closed it out, and he just gifted the break a serve back. And then
Yeah.
once team got going, what was the fourth set score? I think it was 6-4 and then 6-2. Team came back in the next 2 sets, or 6-3.
6-4, 6-3, yeah.
Yeah, I'm forgetting now.
Yeah, it was 6-4, 6-3.
Mhm. But I mean, again, he still had his chances. Even in the fifth set, he was up a break twice, or he was serving for the match
Uh,
once, not up a break
he
twice.
he
His team who got
he
the break for.
the first two games were breaks, and Zverev was serving first, so he was down a break, and then he got it back immediately,
Hmm.
and
And then
then he had 5-3.
5-3 serving for the match, and just an absolute muffin of
Just
a service game.
what both serving for the
Just
match, pathetic,
both
pathetic closeout.
players. Just
Yeah, team at 6-5, also an utter
what?
disappointment.
I don't know what he
Yeah,
was doing calling that injury timeout right before he goes to serve. That was a questionable
yeah,
choice.
yeah. It was a
I
questionable
mean,
decision. Yeah,
I know you're cramping and all, but how are you going to let Zverev know
yeah,
that all he has to do
yeah.
is make you play balls
But
and he's going to win the game?
I think he probably would have seen like team was limping from his side of the court to the
Hmm.
chair. Like he was
Yeah,
really struggling with that. He almost didn't
yeah,
make it to the chair, right? So I think Zverev
yeah.
definitely would have seen that.
Yeah.
In
And
any
then
case, it did not help.
obviously we go to a tiebreak at the end, and just what on earth was? We've seen some frustrating tiebreaks from Roger
Yeah.
at Wimbledon, which we don't like to discuss anymore. But that was just
Very weak.
yikes.
Both of them just
Like
completely crumbling under the pressure. Like there
honestly, I
were
think it was pressure,
so
but
many
they were both
routine
heavily
misses. Okay,
cramping. They
I
were heavily
understand they were
cramping
cramping,
though.
yeah, but there were a lot of routine misses that just should not
Hmm.
have happened.
I think team on back-to-back championship points with forehand errors into the net. That honestly had to
Mm-hmm.
just put over the net, put into
Yeah.
play, and then force Zverev to hit a passing shot at that stage of the match. I don't think Zverev was going to do
No, he wouldn't have.
on account of his fatigue as well as
Yeah. I
just
honestly
nerves.
think Zverev should have won the tiebreak given how broken team was, like physically broken down
Hmm.
by the tiebreak. He really just had to make him run side to side. That's one thing I noticed
Exactly.
throughout the tournament entirely from Zverev, that he plays his game from the middle of the court and he doesn't make his opponent play anywhere else. In the first two sets,
He
he
should.
pushed team quite a bit, but generally, he just plays from the middle of the baseline.
He was
And you don't
terrified to
see
hit
much
to
else.
the lines.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You don't see them
I,
working the angles the way Novak would, the way Roger could, the way Rafa could. Not even close.
I was telling you during the match action, like all Zverev needed to do was hit one forehand out wide to team backhand.
Yep.
Team was not. He was going to return a muffin, and then it's an
Yeah.
easy shot up the line,
Yeah.
given how broken
100%.
team was.
Yeah.
But
But nerves got the
yeah,
best of him, I guess. Did you watch
yeah,
the runners up speech and the winner speech, the trophy presentation?
oh yeah, obviously, and I felt for them
Okay.
at that point because
Yeah.
they could barely stand by the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how much of that's to do because they're both still. Zverev's 23, team is
Mhm.
not so 27, but like you don't see Rod like I've never seen Roger that tired after a 4 hour match. Even last year at Wimbledon, like
Yeah.
he was still moving pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Not even the fatigue as much as like Zverev was very, very sad. But I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Well,
you always
it's
would be
also
after a
just
situation like that, right?
yeah. He had 1,000 mile stare
Yeah.
of.
At least he didn't have match points. Silver lining.
This is true, and I think kind of going out after this, I see Zverev definitely winning.
Yeah, yeah. I
He'll
think he
win a
will.
Grand Slam.
Yeah. So
I
I
hope he
think that
hopefully.
yeah, I think that goes nicely into our next topic, our future thoughts for team and Zverev.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
I
Zverev,
agree he would. Yeah.
I think he will. I think this year proved that.
Yeah.
2 Grand Slam semifinals and the one final, obviously within the first,
Yeah.
I guess,
And I
two
think
slams of the year.
the win against Carreno Busta was his first comeback from 2 sets down, if I'm not mistaken. That'll be a
and that was huge.
big confidence boost for him.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think if
And I
team
think,
lost, he would have been mentally, I don't know, screwed for a while. Like after losing 4 finals, you get into an Andy Murray kind of situation, right? I think he would have been
mhm.
a little bit obsolete for the next couple of years, and it would have really hampered his clay court performance, where he has his best chance to make a deep run
And
against the
not
biggest
even
guys,
just
right?
losing the first two against Rafa on clay. You don't even have to worry about losing those. Like no one's beaten
Yeah,
Rafa in
yeah.
the French Open
I
final.
mean, he even took a set off of him in 2019. That was very impressive.
That was huge. One of the big things for Zverev was looking through his run at the Open. He, for the most part, closed matches within 3 and 4 sets early on until a
Hmm.
Carreno Busta, which something early on he would routinely be in 5 set matches by like round two,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
That is true. That is
one,
true. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I didn't even
which is
think of
something that
that.
has hurt him,
The big difference.
which is
Yeah,
something that
and
hurt him
that's
pretty much.
what. Yeah, yeah. That's what gets him like tired out by the fourth round, by the second week, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah,
He
that's
only did
true.
have one straight sets victory, actually, looking back at this, but it was in the round of 16.
Yeah, but
And he had
he also didn't
two,
have such an easy draw, right? Like he opened up against
yeah, he played
Anderson.
Anderson, he had
Yeah,
Manarino in the round three.
yeah, and even
Um,
Nakashima, his second round match, that kid played out of his mind in that
mhm.
second set when he won.
Yeah, but you look at the next 2 sets, 3-1, like he won those pretty
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, like Zverev
George,
got his act together.
George was definitely a tough
Yeah, yeah,
quarterfinal, and he had just beaten Tsitsipas after that marathon match, which I want to talk
hmm
about later.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, and then yeah, so good things from Zverev. Looking at
Mhm.
team, he played an absolutely great U.S. Open, in my opinion.
Yes, yes. Minus the final, unbelievable. The way he wiped out Felix and
Mm-hmm.
Medvedev. Oh my God,
He
that was the match of a champion against Medvedev.
looking through his run to the final, only dropped 1 set to Cilic in the third round. He
Yeah,
beat
yeah,
first round, got a walkover, but he was already up 2 sets to love. He was never in doubt.
mhm, yeah,
Beating
yeah.
Nagal in straights, Cilic in four, just dismantling Felix after
Actually, yeah, his
post
last
first
three
set.
matches, Felix, de Minaur, and then Medvedev wiped them all in straight sets. He actually wiped the floor with
Although
de Minaur.
mhm.
Yeah,
Medvedev, I wouldn't say was a wiping in the last two because Medvedev served for both sets 2 and 3,
yes,
and
yes, he
just
definitely could have taken that.
that set could
Yeah.
have easily gone another way.
Right, but we know that winning those close sets is a big confidence
Is
boost,
key.
right? Like
It's
not
key.
even,
Yep.
not even, not even for the rest of the tournament, but going forward, now he knows he can win sets that go to like extended tie breaks. He knows he has the
Hmm.
mental strength to do it.
I mean, now he knows he can come back from 2 sets down or break down, and when
Yeah,
he's up against it in the down 2 sets, down
yeah.
in the fifth.
It's definitely an edge he was
Um,
missing before. Like in 2017, he lost in the U.S. Open to Del Potro. Coming,
after
he
being
won.
up 2 sets.
He was up 6-1, 6-2, and then 2018 there was the fifth set tiebreak against Nadal that he kind of crumbled and he lost on a missed smash, right?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I think that this is a big mental hurdle for him to overcome, and he's done very well for
And
himself.
just winning your first slam finally.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. Finally for a new Grand Slam champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward for team. I don't know. I don't think he's playing Rome, considering Rome already started today and they just
Hmm.
finished the U.S. Open yesterday. So he's
Hmm.
probably just
Yeah,
gonna
he
go.
probably
I
won't.
mean, they're both probably just going straight into the French Open.
They're not playing
Um,
Madrid, are they?
I don't know. I think they might because they
Yeah.
need some
Are
clay
they?
court warm up. But the team's been
Yeah.
playing clay courts even during the lockdown, so you might
Yeah,
have
yeah, he
some.
was. He was, yeah. Yeah, I think the Madrid Open was canceled. I don't see anything.
Yeah, and we'll see that next year then,
Mhm.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, Anyway, so looking forward to these two at the French Open. I expect Team to make a good run. He is
Yeah,
the clay
absolutely.
court suits him well, playing physical points, slow points, grueling points, and that's basically what he did with Zverev by the end of this match. He'd made it a very
Yeah.
physical match. It almost
Hmm.
didn't work for him, but
But yeah.
came out of it on top. Um,
Hmm.
I expect
And
some. I don't know what the draws are.
he's better than anyone else at the physical stuff. Other than maybe Nadal on the clay, he can
Hmm.
outgrind anybody.
Yep, but like who can outgrind Nadal on the clay? But
Yeah.
otherwise, I expect to see, depending on how the draw comes out, I think he'll either meet Nadal in a semifinal or final. He's going to make a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
deep run. Zverev, I don't know. He's won a couple of clay court 1000s.
Yeah.
I don't.
I hope he has the confidence, because the flip side is that this could actually mentally ruin him, right? And his clay court season could end up being a complete wash
Yeah, being
if
up
he's
two
not
sets to
feeling it.
love, a break
Yeah.
in the third, a break in serving for it,
Yeah.
being up. I think up a mini break in the tie break in the end too,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
be playing an
Yeah.
opponent he should have beaten just on given the physics, given how broken team
Yeah.
was by the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Clay is definitely one of his best surfaces, but the mental thing is going to be our big question for him, how he handles it.
There's it's we'll see how what he takes from the tournament. There's good things, and obviously the end was rough.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting that Azarenka beat Serena Williams 1-6, 6-3, 6-3. Then Osaka beat her 1-6, 6-3, 6-3.
6-3,
And
6-3, yeah.
then same thing on the men's side. Zverev came back from 2 sets to beat Carreño Busta, and then he lost from 2 sets in the
Then
final.
drops. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think we've ever seen anything like that.
All right, so then just to wrap the U.S. Open, then the
Biggest shock of the tournament. Disappointment. Okay.
Okay, I mean the biggest shock disappointment of the tournament, other than the obvious Novak doing what he did, which we'll get to later. Mine was Tsitsipas. Just what on earth was that?
Yeah, the way mine was the same.
6 or 7 match points.
Yeah.
I remember watching. I was up watching it, and then he's up in the fourth set, and he's squandering match points, but I'm like, he's still up a break, and he's still serving for it, and even if he goes to a fifth, I still have confidence that he's going to win. Probably go to sleep in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then George, what was it, 5 straight games to win that, or 6 straight games to win the fourth set?
5-1 to 7-5, if I'm not mistaken.
And then he also won the opening game in the fifth set, so make it 7 straight games.
Yeah, I turned off my TV, and I was assuming it was done, but I didn't get the notification on my phone saying that the match was over. Like if you download the US Open app, you get notifications when the set ends. Yeah, and the notification just didn't come, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
Oh my god!
I was watching Molly's game with my roommates, and then later on I just started streaming the fifth set on the side as well. I did not expect that to happen at all.
Yeah, I know, and just I don't understand what Tsitsipas was doing. Like on every match point, it was a questionable, just questionable shot making decisions.
Yeah, same thing that I was saying about Zverev. This could mentally ruin him for the clay court season, because clay is also a good surface for him. It was one of his best ones early on, and he has not had great results since winning the Tour Finals last year. So I definitely have questions about what the future holds. Like he ended. This is a consistent thing. In 2017, Dimitrov won the Tour Finals and had a very weak 2018. 2018, Zverev won, had a weak 2019, and now Tsitsipas won 2019. Obviously, 2020 has been kind of shut off for more than half of it, but it's been a very weak showing.
Yeah, and sorry,
we all expected him to. That's all good. We all expected him to do well at the Australian, right? Because he beat Roger in 2019.
Beat Roger the year before. Where did he even go on the Australian Open this year? I forget.
He lost in the third round to Raonic in straights. So.
Oof, that's. Yeah. I mean, Milos has come back well, but
that was not
you can move better.
Yeah. He also had a walkover against Kohlschreiber in the second round, so he really only won 1 match in Australia.
And then Australia, then Dubai, and then the season's done. So he really hasn't played much tennis. And I mean, he played I think he was playing the World Tennis Showdown or whatever that was going on during the lockdown.
Sure, yeah.
He hasn't played much actual ATP tennis or
generally
tour tennis.
Just a poor showing.
And that's the kind of match that can really. I think they were saying that's the match that can ruin your year. Just 7 match points.
Yeah, it can deflate you entirely.
Yeah, and he was even the way I didn't see the presser, but just from social media, the way he kind of was tweeting about it, I'm like, does he fully understand what he did, or is he taking it well, or has he just gone into completely fuck it, this season is a wash mode?
Yeah.
So really big disappointment there. I was hoping to see I think he was in Medvedev's. No, he was in Zverev's draw, right? He would have faced Zverev in this.
Yeah, he would have faced Zverev. Zverev beat Coric in the next round. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
that
my
would have
initial
been a.
prediction was for him to beat Zverev in the quarterfinals, or maybe Zverev doesn't even make it. And
I was
he would have.
hoping.
I think he would have if he went through.
Yeah, but I think I had a Tsitsipas Novak semifinal in my
Mhm.
prediction because I
Yeah.
didn't think Zverev was gonna make it through
Yeah,
Stefanos.
that was definitely a big shock, and hopefully the poor ending to the final won't take away from a great tournament. But yeah,
Yeah,
Tsitsipas is gonna have a rough time at the French
yeah,
Open with
and
the
I
fact
don't
that
know
he
how good he is on clay.
yeah.
Anytime you have a one-handed backhand and a
It's
relatively
always a bit
Eastern
difficult,
forehand,
right?
it's always difficult unless you're Stan or I guess
Yeah,
team now. But
yeah.
and then on the other
He
side,
definitely reminded me of a mini team. So keep in mind, last year he beat Nadal on the clay in Madrid, I think, and then he lost to Novak in the
team,
final. Yes. No.
team or team.
Tsitsipas beat Nadal on the clay in Madrid.
Oh yes, yeah, I remember now.
So he's got the capability to do it, but I don't know
I
if
mean,
mentally
you
he
look,
can do it anymore.
yeah, I mean, because there was this match and also the match last year against Stan, which really on the French Open in
Mhm.
quarterfinals, or no, would have been round of 16 because Stan then lost to Roger in the quarters.
Yeah.
He had his chances in that match too. It was a long fifth setter, and even that
Yes.
last game that
8-6,
Stan
8-6.
broke him. In the last game that Stan broke him, it was a lot of mental mistakes and unforced errors. I think I
Mhm.
remember him hitting himself, so
Yeah.
you know, some growing to do there. On the flip
Yeah.
side, biggest surprise for the tournament for me was Chapo
I had
getting
the same one.
to yeah
Or
getting
well,
the
one
same one. Yeah,
similar.
mine was Chapo. I think I still am surprised he lost to Carreno Busta. I thought
Mhm. Yeah, so mine was actually flipped.
which,
My biggest surprise was George coming back on Tsitsipas, and my
mhm,
biggest disappointment was Shapovalov losing that fifth to Carreno Busta after taking the fourth 6
mm,
love. And I understand that
six,
Carreno Busta kind of switched off at 3-0 in the fourth.
mhm,
Just started preparing himself for the fifth set, let Shapovalov, I guess, get the false sense of security, which could backfire.
mhm,
It gave Shapovalov a chance to have like a lot of free range, and that set really showed us
mhm.
how good he is when he's firing on all cylinders because he was serving
And when yep,
130 every single serve,
mhm.
no
And
issues.
when he's hitting his spots too, he's a really dangerous player. He's a guy
Yeah,
who
he
reminds me of Stan in that sense
yeah,
when he's
or even like Federer in his younger days, who just hit every single spot.
mhm,
If you
yep,
look at the U.S. Open 2005 final against Agassi, Federer hit every
mhm.
single corner. He did not miss.
From everywhere on the court. Didn't matter
Yeah,
what position he was in, he could hit
exactly,
forehand inside in, inside
exactly,
out.
exactly. That's what we were seeing from
Basically,
Shapovalov, but he kind of just got complacent about it in the fifth and let Carreno Busta come back. It was
yep.
not a match he should have lost. But as you
And
said,
that's
great positives
yep.
to take back from the
Yeah, I
tournament. He did
mean,
very well.
looking at his run, he beat
Fritz was the
he
big
came back
one.
to beat Taylor Fritz in a big down 2-1 actually to come back to beat him,
Fritz
beating
actually served
Goffin.
Goffin was a big one, yes. But Fritz served
Hmm.
for the match against him. That was the big comeback that was like mentally
Right.
it will help him the way it helps team right now. That's the big
Hmm.
comeback he needed to know for himself that he has the mental strength to do this.
Yep. And then beating Goffin is obviously huge. Coming
Yep.
back after losing that tiebreak 7-0, winning
Yeah, 7-0
the next
tiebreak.
three sets pretty cleanly, 3-4 and 3. And
Mhm.
honestly, he was right there with Crane and Booster right until the end. It could have easily been him versus Zverev in that semifinal. And then who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe
Um,
Shapovalov would have won it. Yeah. The thing is, Carreno
yep,
Busta actually won two close tiebreaks against Shapovalov. If just one of them
yep.
had gone his
So
way, I think both of them could have gone his way. But if just one of them had gone his
yep,
way,
looking
he
at
would have.
now 7-5, 7-4 for Crane and Booster in the tiebreak. So
Yeah, and
again,
lots of errors. It was like watching a Federer Djokovic tiebreak. Like just choke.
exactly. Crane and Booster is a good pro. He's gonna he was playing to his strength,
Mhm.
put balls in and force Dennis to make winners, and sometimes he missed.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's ultimately, I guess, why he lost.
Mhm. It
Mm,
was, yeah, but the positive to take away is that in almost all of his matches, the match was on his racket. So it's not that the other players are better than him; it's that he's beating himself, and that's always a good situation to be in.
exactly. So once those shots fire,
I think a lot of the
he's gonna be
commentators
right there.
that this guy's ceiling is really high up there, but someone like Carreno Busta or someone like David Goffin, the way their bodies are, the way their shots are, their ceiling is a little bit lower, right?
Hmm.
The only restriction is going to be himself.
Yep, he's either going to win the match or cost himself the match in errors. He's never going to. I don't think he's going to get beaten. He's going to let other.
You won't fall
he'll beat himself. Exactly.
Yeah. He's got the forehand. He's got the backhand. He's got the serve.
Yep, and I think he did start coming to net more.
Yeah,
he's been coming to net more. He can play more doubles, so his net game has improved a lot, which is what I've been begging for him to do, because he has so many chances where he gets a really good approach shot, but then either doesn't follow it in or follows it in late and with some hesitation, and then messes at the net.
That was one thing. He was actually, what I saw against Carreño Busta was that he was a little bit too fast with moving in. Like, he would hit a very hard approach shot, a very hard approach shot, and then Carreño Busta would pass him, but his passing shot wouldn't be that good. It would just be that Shapovalov was out of position because his approach shot was so fast that he didn't have time to move. He had less than half a second. And you'll notice a lot of the better guys will hit like high looping forehands that push you back as their approach shots, or
give you time to come in.
Yeah, it gives you time to come in. Shapovalov was trying to win the point on the approach shot, which is the first thing that you should not do.
Yep.
You gotta set up the point where you're screwed.
So that's something he's gonna have to learn as he kind of goes along on the tour. And I think he'll get there. I think all those tools are there. He just needs to learn to use them. Which is,
I wonder if he should, as a tactical point of view, I wonder if he should employ a coach other than his mother. Obviously she's been doing a great job.
Yes,
but the fact that she's not a professional, and all the best guys have professionals.
Yes, and I think someone like Stefan Edberg would be great, but like obviously he's not just going to hire Stefan Edberg.
Not even it doesn't even have to be somebody as good as Stefan Edberg. Just somebody who's an actual tennis coach. I don't know what his mom's background is, but I
think she's I don't think she's been a tour level coach though. That's
exactly. Shapovalov is our only tour level prodigy, I guess. Let's say
exactly.
If you look at somebody who even Roger Rashid, who coached Tsonga, Monfils, Dimitrov in his most physical time, he can make Shapovalov a physical beast. I don't know if that's where he really wants to go. Like he would turn more into a Nadal than of a Federer. I don't think that's the way he's going. But in general, I think I'd just like to see him with a team that's a bit more than having one very one-sided, right?
Bring on another coach is all.
Yeah. All the top guys
have
multiple coaches to give multiple opinions, right?
Yep. And he's not necessarily getting that right now.
Sorry?
He's not necessarily getting that right now, which is what he needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. But either way, really good step. First Grand Slam quarterfinal, first Canadian to be in a U.S. Open quarterfinal. So that was huge. And now we get to the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The dumbass of the day, Novak Djokovic.
So, okay, your thoughts appear to be different from mine. I think the disqualification was unwarranted.
You think it was unwarranted?
Yeah, I think he should have been allowed to play. Maybe a point penalty, maybe even a game penalty. Like he was down 6-5. Maybe just give the set to Carreño Busta. But disqualification is unreal. I do not agree with that at all.
I think it's harsh, but that's the rule, and he was warned. They were warranted in giving him a default. And like people were saying, if it had been Federer or Nadal who had done that, they wouldn't have defaulted them. And to that I say, bullshit. They would have defaulted Roger if he clocked a lineswoman in the throw with the ball too.
So the thing is, he didn't clock a lineswoman. Like, it wasn't a hard hit. It wasn't malicious. I think she got riled up for no reason. And you also saw his reaction as soon as the hit happened. You see, it was a mistake.
I don't think he meant to do it.
He seemed to be aiming for a ball boy, right?
No, the way I saw it, there wasn't intent to hit the lady or anything, but there was definite frustration behind the way he hit.
Yes, I don't think there was an intent to hit it hard. It was almost like a misfire.
But the rule is, if you have to be when you're reckless in any way.
Yeah.
Like when you're reckless in any way with the ball like that, then maybe the rule is dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, my issue is a bit more with the rule because I don't agree that it was a reckless hit with the ball. I think it was an honest mistake.
It was.
I think the intention is very important here. You look at, say, the way Serena got disqualified for yelling at a lineswoman. The intent was to intimidate her and make her feel like shit, which is why she got disqualified. Even in 2018, when she got the penalties against Osaka, the intention was to talk shit to the umpire. The intention was to show how great
or
of
like
he is.
Yeah. Or like McEnroe in '90 at the Australian Open.
Yeah, like
the intimidating the lines people.
Is to be a dick, basically. That was not the case here. Far from it.
I don't know. I think either way, though, like you look at whenever a player hits the ball out of play, or it's a whatever the rule is, abuse, right? Whether it's racket abuse, tennis ball abuse, verbal abuse.
I think it should have been 2 warnings.
He's still. I think I read the article I read was the way it works is the escalation is either whatever the warning is. So like if it's your first warning, the punishments are between the first warning you can get, or a default, right? So he didn't have a warning up until that point, or any violation. So the options for the officials were either a warning, like a violation warning, or default.
Is there no option to give him 2 warnings?
No, you can either do one or the other. So like, had you gotten a warning before that, and then it was like a point penalty or a game penalty versus a default, then I think you could have given him a game penalty or something. But you can't just skip the first violation warning to give him
I
almost
think it might even be better to like you can plan for specific situations. As time, like tennis has been going on for 100 years. As time goes on, as people make their mistakes and receive their punishments, the rule book can be updated. Say like if specifically this happens again, this is the result.
So maybe they update it now.
Yeah,
maybe they update it now. But I think either way, he was still reckless with the ball, and it did result in it. Whatever how injured she was, I don't know, but it resulted in an injury, and that's the point, right? You can't have players even recklessly endangering lineswomen or ball boys or anyone else in the crowd, right? So
you're right. It's really unfortunate because there isn't a single player that could have beaten him in this draw, right? If he had faced Zverev in the semis, no way he would have even taken a set off him.
Having just watched the final I watched, Novak was going to win. He definitely threw away number 18.
Yeah, it was Shapovalov would have been his biggest threat, actually. And Shapovalov could have taken off maybe a set. Like, I'm saying that based on their match at the ATP Cup at the beginning of the year. I thought Shapovalov really could have took the game to Novak, and he could have done some real damage against him there. But obviously, that's a best of 3. That's an exhibition tournament. I think there were points, but like it's a brand new tournament. This is obviously a different stage. It would have been Shapovalov's first quarterfinal. I think it would have been straight sets, at most 4 for Djokovic, and just steamroll his way.
And that too, yeah. I think Novak was gonna. I mean, he was playing a little bit frustrated at times throughout the tournament.
I think
he had the neck issues going in, but like he always has something to piss him off. I think he just needs that to win.
Yeah, that's the big thing that separates him from the rest of the players, because when he's not playing his A game, he still has a B game and a C game that is better than most. That's what other players don't have.
I mean,
that's what we see missing in Roger, because when he's not firing, he's just throwing backhands in the net. That's what we saw missing in Shapovalov. That's what we see missing in Thiem in the Australian Open final. Djokovic has that.
That's what Novak makes you do. He makes you just continue to hit balls and force those errors out of you, and I hate that style of tennis. Like, by far pissing me off, and like I see it in Zverev at times too.
Absolutely.
Sometimes too, and I don't like it, but it's won him games, won him matches.
What's made him into such a great champion is that when look at say, let's say the U.S. Open in 2015, the entire tournament he was not on his A game. That's what impressed me the most about it. From start to finish, he was not there. Even the Wimbledon 2014 that he won after a drought of 5 consecutive. 5 is not really a drought, but after losing 5
a drought for him, given what he had been doing
at the time. It was a drought for him, right? He wasn't playing.
He wasn't holding a major at the time.
Yeah, leading up to the final, he was losing a set almost every single round, and Federer was going through straight sets. But Djokovic's B game is just so much higher than everybody else's A game.
Yeah. And when he needs to not make a mistake and play and make you get impatient and miss. That's what That's what he does very well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So we'll have to see how he recovers from this mentally and what his clay court performance is going to be like. I don't think it's going to be a huge toll, but it's going to be very frustrating. Like he knows, he said it before the tournament. Just because Federer and Nadal aren't there doesn't mean it's just a given Grand Slam for me. But everybody knew, including himself, it was.
There was no way. He's still undefeated by an actual player in the tournament
Exactly.
this season, and I think it'll be interesting to see early on if there's frustration there, because I think if he.
Yeah. I think if he gets into an argument with an umpire, that's where the trigger is going to be, because he actually did it's like tennis is a gentleman's sport. You don't step out and do things that you would do in, say, hockey or basketball, right? There was so when he was disqualified, he actually went and shook Carreño Busta's hand, which nobody was doing. They were doing the racket taps, right? He actually shook his hand and hugged him. Then for the umpire, he held out his hand to shake his hand and then immediately pulled it back, and he was like, nope, and he put it behind his head, which is like it's not a big deal, but for tennis, that's something that you don't see. It's like a sign of disrespect for the rules and for the umpire, and that's not something you do. That's something that you could actually get fined for, I'm pretty sure.
And like maybe it was oh no COVID, but we all know that's not true with him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every once in a while you see a player walk off the court and they refuse to shake hands with the umpire. That's what we saw.
You see that once in a while, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But on top of that,
happens, it's a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. But we also see him going and shaking his opponent's hand when he knows he's not supposed to.
And I don't think he handled the aftermath well. He kind of was arguing with the tournament officials, and then he didn't do the media availability right after, took that additional fine. He lost quite a bit of money in this. He lost $250,000.
Yeah, and also his prize money is completely gone. Like even for reaching the fourth round, he gets nothing.
Yep, he got zero. Yeah. Pretty expensive trip.
Pretty expensive trip to the COVID center of the world.
Yep. Well, he won Cincinnati and he won the money there.
Yep, that's true.
But yeah, so I did see some really dumb stuff out there. It was do you remember in 2006 Australia when Federer, I think it was like a lead or something, and the ball came back and he kind of just behind his back clocked it back to a ball kid, because that's what he always does.
Yes.
And that ball kid tweeted like, "Where's my apology, Roger?" And then some people, like the Novak stands, because they're Novak stands, were legitimately calling for like, "Hey, why wasn't Federer disqualified?" and things like that. And I'm like, all right, guys, there's a pretty clear difference between someone giving a ball back to a ball boy like that, in between serves, versus I'm mad after I get broken.
It's reckless, right? It's a mistake, and it was reckless. Same thing as what Djokovic did, right? That's a thing that people consider Federer a god, and they have for a very long time, right?
They still do.
And it's unfortunate that Djokovic, being equally good or better than Federer and Nadal, as for their head-to-head slams might even overtake him, he'll never have the love and respect that those two do, because they have a style of play that's so attractive to watch. They've had a rivalry that's gone on for so long. He's kind of like the new guy in 2011.
Yeah.
Right? The guy who's never going to be in the front.
Yep. And I don't think he's
like, if you think about
himself too.
Djokovic got his 8th Grand Slam in 2014 or 2015. No, even earlier. Maybe 2013.
Would have been 2015. I think Australia 2015 was his 8th.
I don't. Was it?
Yeah, because Wimbledon 29. Wimbledon, he had 10 by the end of that year.
Yeah. You're right. So, at this point, he has more slams than Agassi or McEnroe, if I'm not mistaken. And did anybody consider him, ourselves included, better than those two players? No, right? Nobody really cared.
I did.
You did?
I thought at that point. Not after Australia. I did after the U.S. Open that year.
Yeah, but that's after such a remarkable season that he had for the second time after 2011. Is that really fair? McEnroe never had anything of the sort.
Well, I think it's hard to compare, like, at least especially Mac. I don't think anyone really compares players now to like what Mac was, because that era was very far gone. Agassi, I can still see the comparison. I think
also an era where they didn't really play the Australian.
He also didn't have the career slam at this point.
He did not,
because he didn't win the French yet, and that was a big thing.
Yeah, that is true. That is fair. But I still think there are quite a few people that would consider, say, Sampras a better player than Djokovic. I don't agree. I don't.
I think those people are wrong, because he has 3 more slams.
Right.
Career slam.
But even
Golden Master Slam.
If you look at the way people idolize Sampras right now, like say he gets to come to the U.S. Open as a guest of honor. Do you think that's ever going to happen to Djokovic?
No, I think that he knows that too. I think the fans he hasn't
It's just
endeared himself
love.
to fans
It's
other
just
than
love that he does not have for some reason. And it's almost like hatred because at the time of his breakthrough into tennis, people were already either a Federer fan or a Nadal fan. Every single person in tennis fit under that category.
honestly, like he was a likable guy though. I think it was
Yeah.
his style was kind of boring when he really started to dominate. It was hard to really get behind or cheer for because this was also when he dominated, it was him and Murray at the top of the game, and then Roger and Rafa were injured. No one was watching tennis then. At least I was not watching tennis.
People wanted to see somebody break the domination of Djokovic and Murray, right? But nobody wanted to see somebody break the domination of Federer and Nadal. In 2011, nobody wanted to see that. In 2018, or when Djokovic came back, people were riding their happy train of Federer and Nadal winning the last 6 slams.
Yep.
Because everybody loves them so much.
Yep. And
They're the
also
OGs of our
what they brought for the sport, because they brought tennis back to relevance, if you think about it.
Absolutely. They're ambassadors too.
And I think what this US Open final kind of showed was that when the big three are done, and Murray's, obviously he's well past his prime with hip surgeries, but the big three and the big four was that domination is done, and I think it's going to be much more like the women's game when Serena isn't dominating, where anyone can win.
Yeah,
which has been the case for the last couple of slams. I mean, Serena's always been in the finals all the time, but she's still, she's lost to Andreescu and Osaka, and I think it was Halep in the Wimbledon last year.
I don't remember who it might have been Kvitova. I don't remember.
I think it was Simona Halep won Wimbledon last year.
Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, but I think Novak's never
a lot more open. Yeah.
Anyway, so last topic, the clay court season, our most favorite season during the tennis season. I'm just kidding. So Rome started today. Don't really know too much about who's playing.
Dimitrov won today. Nishikori won today. His first match since August of last year that he's won. He's been injured, so he got to come back today. We were talking earlier about Yannick Sinner's incredible performance. Of course, Benoit Paire kind of just shut down in the second set.
Because he's Benoit Paire and he's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
He's actually one of the weirdest players on the tour, man.
He is one of the weirdest players.
He's like, he's kind of stupid good sometimes, and then he's
a waste of talent. He's like a worse version of Kyrgios, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's very.
He's got the game. Both of them actually have fairly weak backhands and really strong forehands and serves, and they're just a waste of talent because
just mentally, yikes.
Mentally, they're not there. Yeah.
Anyway, so Rome, and then I think after that is the French Open the following week on the 27th, because this ends on the 21st of September. So obviously the big name during the clay court season is gonna be Rafa. It'll be interesting to see because he hasn't played tennis now since the Australian Open, because he didn't play Dubai, I don't think. And so he hasn't played tennis in however many months. He obviously didn't get to practice too much early on during those lockdown because Spain was in like a proper lockdown.
Yeah, he did play the Mexican Open after the Australian. He beat Dimitrov and Taylor Fritz on his way to the final and absolutely demolished everybody. He did not lose a single set in that win. He had one 7-5 set, and the rest were all just 6-3, 6-2, 6-1.
I think we kind of, during this kind of Novak rebirth, we've kind of overlooked what a strong couple months Rafa himself has had too. Yeah, even just going back to
a great hardcore player. Like he lost in Australia to Team. That's nothing to be ashamed of, right? It
was a close, like it was a game of inches. 3 tiebreakers, Team hitting like a ball that was going 3 feet wide, hits a let cord and comes back in. So that was a match he very could have easily won. Exactly. He won the US Open last year, obviously, against Medvedev in that classic. Wimbledon loses to Federer in the semifinals. It was a great match. Wins Roland Garros.
Finals against Djokovic in 2019. He got demolished, but he was untouchable that day, right?
He was US Open 2018 pulled out because of an injury. against
In the
Delphine.
semifinals, though. In the
Semifinals, yeah. But again, at Wimbledon made the semifinals the year before, lost a brilliant fifth-set match to Novak.
I think what's
On the French
crazy is
Open.
that Nadal has actually won 4 U.S. Opens and Federer has won 5.
He snuck up, eh? He got 4. I think had he played this year, I would have easily, and like it would have been a normal year, he could have easily equaled that record.
Mm-hmm.
I think the U.S. Open would be, if it had been a normal year, I would have seen Rafa tying at the French and then breaking 20 at the U.S. Open. I think the U.S. Open plays to his favor somehow, even though it's a bit faster hardcourt. He just
the thing is, it all depends on if he's healthy by the end of the season, right? Because that's when
he's going to be
kryptonite most of the time. 2012, 2014, 2015, 2016, 17. Mm-hmm. Oh no, 2021. Sorry, 2018.
2017 he won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now he's going to be extremely well rested going into the French.
Exactly. And whenever he's been healthy, he's done very well at the U.S. Open. 2011, he lost in the final to Djokovic, and that was an incredible match. I wish it went 5 sets.
2011, he played ridiculous forehand. 2011, his forehand was unconscious that year.
2011 was
forehand on the line. It was just that Novak was having a better year.
Yeah. Like he made the Indian Wells and Miami finals, right? Then he made the Wimbledon final, the U.S. Open final. Rogers Cup and Cincinnati were weak showings, but we can overlook that, I guess.
The Rogers Cup is kind of, as much as I do enjoy the fact that they come here, a lot of the times they're not in the best shape hardcore-wise. And Cincinnati, where they really turn it on.
Like they really turn it on in Cincinnati. And also, I feel like the big guys are willing to let these Masters 1000s go. Like if they realize it's going to be,
they definitely are as of late.
Like this might affect me in a week in the Grand Slam, I'll let it go.
We've seen Roger do that so many times now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So obviously, So we're looking for Rafa to do.
It's a dumb idea to bet against Nadal at the French Open in general.
We've done it every year. Every time we're like, you know what, this is the year. I think he's not playing well, and with the exception of injury or that 1 year, he just wasn't playing well in Grand Slams. The Djokovic year, he's won it every year. He's undefeated in French Open finals. Was he 12-0? And until someone takes it away from him, it's his title.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people called this Grand Slam the changing of the guard when Djokovic got disqualified. But that makes it sound like he lost and didn't get disqualified, right? Like if we see another Djokovic-Nadal final in France, this year's U.S. Open could honestly just go down as a waste of a slam.
And that's what these younger guys have to prove now.
Yeah, they have to prove that
it wasn't a fluke.
The team himself has to prove, like he has to make the final. Is basically what I'm saying.
Rafa can win, but these guys have to be in the top 4. They have to be. They have to be.
I would like Nadal, Djokovic, Team, and Zverev semifinal would prove that Team and Zverev are not flukes this time, because this is all
they need these guys.
A black star on it that says they won it because there was a pandemic, there was a knee injury, and there was a disqualification, which got the big 3 out.
Exactly. They need to do what the big 4 did for so many years, which was consistently every slam. It was those 4 in the final.
Consistency, yeah. Like this slam, how many times? You know how 40 years ago nobody played the Australian Open, right? This slam is going to be looked at the same way as the Australian Open was looked at back then.
Like, oh, no one played it. Like, they need
Rod Laver's 2 years of winning the calendar slam. That would be like Federer winning the Australian Open in his prime when literally nobody was around. Obviously, don't take away from the fact that Rod Laver won the other 3, but that was the time when nobody played the Australian Open. There were really only 3 Grand Slams at the time.
Yep.
And it'll be only 2 Grand Slams this year, the Australian and the French. It'll be the same consideration that it's counted as a Grand Slam, but unless Team and Zverev show that they really are the best 2, not the best 2 at that time, it'll be a black Slam.
Yep. Look for Medvedev to also make it back to a semifinal. At least I would hope.
I've never seen him perform well on the clay, but I feel like he does have a game that's suited for it.
He likes to play deep, long physical points, but he can also attack a ball, which is why I actually had him picked to win the U.S. Open after Novak defaulted.
Yeah,
actually, even that he was my most likely person to beat Novak.
And like we said, we were both very impressed with Shapovalov's performance, right? But I think his game is not well suited for clay, so I don't think we're going to see that much from him.
I think his game breaks down on the clay. He can only hit, shots like that for so long on so many and so many times consistently in a rally, right? Eventually, those forehands and backhands break down. The longer the match goes on, the longer the points get.
Right.
And okay, so aside from Rafa, who's your pick to at least make a run?
It's got to be team to make a run. I think Zverev can. I think after all we've said, I think Zverev can make a deep run. He won't let this get to him mentally too much, and he'll make a good showing at the French Open. Is my guess. I don't know if Andy Murray's playing, but either way, I don't expect him to do that much.
If I'm any one of those the next gen guys, I don't want to see Andy Murray in my draw early on. I don't want to see Stan Wawrinka in my draw early on.
Yeah,
because they may not make a run, those two, but in the first 3 rounds they might have their legs underneath them. We've seen Stan just bomb his way through to a French Open, second week, because he can hit with the best of them. So as long as if the draw is favorable for some of the younger guys to avoid those guys until later rounds, then I think draw opens up nicely for them, because again, Andy Murray, as nice as it is to see him playing again 2 weeks on the clay, he's not going to be able to play that style that he likes to play. That makes Andy Murray Andy Murray. Even Stan Wawrinka on the clay with one knee now, so we'll have to see. But otherwise I'm thinking also Novak. We didn't really talk about him on the clay. What do we think? He's been beaten by Team He's been beaten by Team on the French Open 2 out of the last 3 years now.
Yes, that's correct. And he beat him in 2016. That's correct. So I think if we see a Team Novak semifinal, I think Team could take it.
That's 1-5. Team could take it. He has taken it. And it could very easily be a 5-set classic.
So see, the thing is, Team actually has a very, very good record against these guys. Hardcore clay. Like, he beat Federer 3 times last year. That's unreal.
Indian Wells.
The World Tour Finals. And there was one more in 2019. Unless I'm mistaken.
I think it was just those 2. Oh, it might have been on the clay.
Yeah. At Madrid. Madrid, yeah. There were 3. Nobody else in 2019 faced Federer 3 times and won, not even Djokovic. Mm-hmm. He had the best record against Federer. And as much as we hate to say it, I mean, we love him, but and we talk shit all the time, but Federer had an amazing 2019 season.
He did. He honestly still should have won. But we're not going to discuss that. We can do that on a later day.
So I'm looking at the entry list for the French Open right now, and it's kind of weak. So Andrei Rublev was my dark horse for the U.S. Open, and I think he did justice to that. He did very well, but just like Shapovalov, I don't think his game suits the clay courts very much. I think he will struggle to the second week.
He's going to struggle to find those shots consistently over a 5-set match. Also, this is going to be interesting because Rafa hasn't played a Grand Slam match in how long, and he's going to play. I mean, Rafa.
Oh, I don't think it matters.
I mean, I go again, questioning Rafa's fitness going on to the French Open.
Once he has played, I think 4 or 5 sets, which will all be sets he wins in the first 2 rounds, right? He'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Good point. And he's playing Rome as well, so he's going to have a nice tune-up.
Exactly. So I think if Thiem and Djokovic are drawn to the semifinals, I think they both are the hot picks to make it. If they face each other, I think Thiem will win. I give that edge to Thiem. If they don't,
so you're looking for a.
If he's drawn to Nadal, I think if Thiem is drawn to Nadal in the semis, he loses and it becomes a Nadal Djokovic final.
Yeah, whichever side doesn't get Thiem has basically an easier draw to the final.
Yeah, and I think the 4 people who could upset them, like the 5th to 8th who were drawn to lose in the quarterfinals: Tsitsipas, Zverev, Berrettini, and Monfils. I don't know. I
haven't really seen enough from any of them on the clay in a Grand Slam.
So, actually, Gael Monfils had a very, very hot start to 2020. He had won, I think, 2 or 3 tournaments in a row after the Australian Open. Then he had match points against Djokovic in the Dubai semifinals and threw it. Right?
He's been playing well, but again, this is best of 5 on the clay. And you just know how, and he's a very good player, and he can.
We've seen him play well in the clay actually before.
But I've
Actually,
we've also
I haven't
seen
thought
him in a
about that.
5-set match break
Yeah,
down slowly,
yeah.
especially against
You're
some of the
right,
bigger
but
guys.
I would definitely say watch out for him. I think he could make a good run. He could do some damage. It is
Mhm.
still a weak draw.
That's true. That's true. He can make a run, and he's got Bay to impress.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's true. Let's see what Karina Busta does as well. He's got a shot.
My undying love for Alina Svitlanova.
Yeah, the quads. I know.
We
Yeah, I
should
think a
definitely
lot
edit
of the
that part out.
a lot of the players that I would consider hot picks to win a slam or like make a deep run, cannot do it on the clay. Say Chilich, for example. If this was a hardcourt slam, I would say maybe he could do something. I would even say the same thing about De Minaur or Taylor Fritz. But or even John Isner actually. And obviously Felix we've seen, but on the clay, I don't think so. Felix lost today to Filip Krajinovic straight sets. His game,
I think
his power
this
breaks down.
tournament. I think this tournament's going to be the big players being the big players.
Yeah, that's the thing
specifically
with
Nadal Djokovic team.
Exactly. That's the thing with the clay and the grass court tournaments. You never or very rarely see randoms in the
It exposes the weaknesses of those guys who can kind of squeak their way through or luck their way through. You see like
that's why
the
even if you look at
big
Wimbledon, it doesn't have a dominance like Nadal has on the French. It's only been Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray winning it since 2000.
And even and I think like the U.S. Open, you see like those surprise quarterfinalists, semifinals, because so often the big four, big three are injured.
It's also because it's hard court. Everybody knows how to play well.
But I also think like in the Australian Open, it's been Novak, Roger, Rafa for the last.
That is true. We've seen Chilich in the final. So actually, I think you're right. The health has a lot to do with it because most people come into the Australian Open healthy. It's the beginning of the year, right?
The beginning of the year. Yep.
Yeah, so the health definitely does have a lot to do with it. So it's like Djokovic, we know is fairly healthy. Nadal, I cannot imagine is unhealthy. Like we'll see in Rome, but he's had his time off.
I'd be very surprised. Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he hasn't been like preparing for match fitness because it's Rafa, and we know just how dedicated he is to that.
Absolutely.
Whether there's rust there tennis wise, I think he shakes it off. I think he shakes it off pretty quickly during Rome. His game allows him to shake off rust because he can stay back for a couple of sets, especially during the Rome Masters. Get his feel for the ball, and then come back, play more attacking when he needs to.
So the top 4 seeds are going to be Djokovic, Nadal, Thiem, and Medvedev. If Zverev gets,
I think the top. I think the top 3 are definitely going to be in the semifinals. I don't know enough about Medvedev on the clay to make it. So I think there's one semifinal spot really up for grab.
Yeah, I think whoever Zverev gets drawn to in the quarterfinals, like he'll be drawn to one of those 4, right? If he gets drawn to Medvedev, he has a chance. If he gets drawn to either of the other 3, not so much. If he gets drawn to Thiem, though, I think he does have a chance. Zverev has beaten him on the clay before in best of 3.
Thiem has beaten them both times in a Grand Slam.
Yes, you're right. So I would say 4 sets Thiem if he gets drawn to Thiem. But whoever gets drawn to Medvedev will have to know that they are the only ones who have a real shot at making the semis.
Yeah, so it's
interesting to watch. This is all for
it's going to be fun. And I mean, obviously, the big storyline. The biggest storyline is Rafa can equal Roger here at the French Open, which I think, if I'm a betting man, I think he will.
Yeah,
we've kind of beaten around the bush for this too long, but we knew this day was coming. When Rafa could have played just only French Opens and definitely equal the record, and eventually will pass that record.
Exactly.
And I, as a Federer fan, will be happy for him. And I will. At that point, I'm just going to hope he continues to win slams until Novak retires. So at least that way, Novak doesn't pass Roger.
I think they both will, to be honest. But we'll have to see.
It's not looking too good. Let's see if he can. We'll see if Roger can revitalize that magic from 2017.
Yeah, we'll see.
And with that, it's 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. You're on the West.
Yeah. All right.
So
I guess we should
today.
Again, I would say on the weekend in the middle of the French Open, we should do another one of these.
Yeah, or we can do one when before the Rome tournament. Let's do one before the French after Rome is done.
Sure.
And then we'll do one middle weekend of the French.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Until next time.
Thank you guys for listening. See ya.
Good call.